All right. So on tonight's podcast, I'm really excited. I get to hang out with a friend that I haven't seen for quite a while. His name is John Jordan. Now, John Jordan was part of the Montreal's famous Mima Morgentaler collective. He's moved on to work on all kinds of projects out in NDG with his group Osmosis. And yeah, we're going to sit down and see what's what, kind of what happened back in the day and what's happening now. All right, let's get down to it. And don't forget, hit that subscribe button and that stupid bell thing everybody keeps talking about that I've never seen. And don't forget that K-Man Don't Know Shit is brought to you by The Inprint. TheInprint.com is their website. It's great for if you're in a band or have a business or a baseball team or whatever it is. You want to make some t-shirts, hoodies, caps, toques, patches and pins and all that jazz. I'm really big into making flags these days. Actually, I don't even know if they make flags. Call them up. Go to theinprint.com and their phone number's on there. Call them up. Tell them that K-Man sent you and see what kind of deal you get out of that. And yeah, it's just a great partnership and good people. So get on it. All right, here we go. Let's do this. Boom. K-Man Don't Know Shit.
Working? You got a signal? Yeah. And we're live.
See, I learned to
clap. Sync.
Absolutely.
Sync it up, baby.
How you doing, John? Good to see you, man.
Good, Chris. Nice to see you, man.
Absolutely. It's been a while, eh?
Yeah, well, it seems like a while, yet it seems like we run into each other all the time.
Right? Out and about, man.
Yeah.
Out and about. It's funny, with the, living in this social media day and now, back in the day we used to always like cross on the main or on the plateau and stuff. But I'm really up to date anyway at everything you're doing because you're really good at posting what you're doing.
I have no life, so I just barf it all up on Facebook.
For somebody that's saying he doesn't have a life, you're up to all kinds of shit, man. You're busy.
I'm kind of busy, yeah. I'm mostly like just doing music pretty much these days still, you know. It doesn't quite pay the bills, but it keeps me out of trouble.
That's half the battle right there, right?
Exactly.
John brought me a present because I love getting presents. Presents are the best. Look at that present. Woo. New album. When was this put out?
That's Music for Cool Cats. It's the second Osmosis Unlimited album. And it came out, I think, May 13th last year.
Cool.
So we worked on that for about 5 years.
Yeah.
And it's got a ton of Montreal musicians on it.
That's it. I'm looking at the list. Like you have Callie that was just on here yesterday.
Yeah, Callie's been doing this with me since 2003. We started working together on this project. Yeah.
Oh, you got Lisa Mackey on it, Mello G, Paul Cargnello. He's coming next week.
Oh, cool.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Man, all kinds of people. Tim Dubb was on there. Patrick Taylor. You got the whole crew and the entire crew of the Kingpins as well.
Yeah, I got all the Kingpins on there too. Yeah,
shit.
Yeah, so it's a
cast
of dozens.
Yeah, man. Yeah. You got all the gangsters in there. But see, that's one of the cool things that, if I think about you, one thing that I often think about is you seem to always be somebody that brings people together. You start a project, next thing you know, everybody's hopping on and hanging out and doing this thing there.
Well, that goes back to the Me Mama Morgentaler days, because I just always found that, it's to put it really simply, it's a more the merrier thing, because the more people you can get involved in a project, the more ideas you have flying around that you can pick and choose from. The more opinions you have on what you're doing, which can be a blessing and a curse, you know?
Right.
Like you've been in large bands too. You know what it's like to
a lot of cooks in that kitchen.
Yeah, a lot of cooks in the kitchen, exactly. But also you also have the benefit of a much larger social network. Because it's like those old shampoo commercials, I brought 2 friends and they brought 2 friends and they brought 2 friends and so on and so on.
Shampoo companies don't have too much to worry about with us, man.
Yes, good point. But
yeah, I see what you're saying.
The more people you can get involved with something, the more worlds you open up to, And
absolutely.
That's why a lot of the ska bands in the early days were so successful, is because they were kind of by default more diverse. They brought together people from many different backgrounds, and it opened up a wider market for the music,
Absolutely.
Because, and like Me Mama Morgentaler shows, we had people from every age. We had men and women. We had every color of the rainbow represented. There was like a super inclusive scene.
Was it like you get your main members in the band, but then there's also all the other people around, right?
Oh yeah, like you have your crew, right? We had our friends who helped us make costumes, and friends who helped make props and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We used to work closely with an improv theater group called Caught in the Act.
Oh, really?
And they would sometimes do improv shows before we went on, and then we would have our show, and they would play characters in the show and stuff like that. So it was a really far-reaching. It was like Hydra in the Marvel universe,
Right?
Tentacles everywhere,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you brought up two great topics right there. One is Marvel Universe. Two is Me Mom and Morgentaler.
Yeah.
Are you one of the original founding members of that band?
No, I wasn't.
What's your story or relationship with Me Mom?
When I was like 17, I was going to one of those new music festival shows that Duncan McTavish was putting on in the late 80s. And it was at the Shatner Ballroom, which back then was just called McTavish Hall or something like that. Or the McGill Union Ballroom. It was called the McGill Union Ballroom. And I was going to the show.
When you say Shatner, you're talking William Shatner.
William Shatner, yeah. He has a building.
So if you suck, he locks phasers on your nuts.
Right. Yeah, so they eventually named that building after Shatner unofficially. People still call it the Shatner Building. But I was followed to the show by Gus from Me Mama Morgentaler and his friend Renzo, who was the original sax player.
Okay.
And they saw me and how I was dressed, and they didn't know how to get to the show, so they just said, let's follow that guy.
Right.
So they followed me, and they introduced themselves to me and thanked me for leading them to the show, and that's how I got to know them. And then later at Marianopolis, they were all at Marianopolis, they put on a talent show, and Gus and Renzo and their friends at Marianopolis decided to put together a ska band for the talent show.
Okay.
And they wanted to pick a name that would offend the nuns who ran Marianopolis. So there's many stories. I think Gus came up with it in a dream or something, but they call themselves Me Mama Morgentaler. And to their chagrin, the nuns thought it was hysterical and thought it was totally hilarious.
Isn't that the worst when you want to piss somebody off and they end up loving it?
Nuns are generally a lot cooler than we give them credit for.
Yeah.
My mom also taught at a school with nuns. And we mentioned one of the nuns from my mom's school in a song called My Mother's Friends. And we made T-shirts. And we had a drawing of Satan standing behind Sister Rose Dorothy, my mother's friend, on the T-shirt.
Oh, wow.
And all the nuns wanted the T-shirt. They were like,
I'm
we got to
sure.
have the T-shirt.
Yeah, man, I love these liberal nuns. They're awesome. So you're 17. You meet Gus and Renzo.
Yeah.
And then what happened?
So they put the band together, and they asked me, because I knew I played saxophone, to come and help Renzo and Mark, the two sax players.
Okay.
So because they were just getting started. So I was
Yeah.
kind of like brought in to coach them a little bit. So I would teach them the harmonies and stuff like that, but I didn't play the shows. They would play them. And then after a year, both of them got summer jobs and out of town, so they left.
Right.
So they came to me and asked me to sit in, and then without even asking permission, I invited Baltimore Bix, our trumpet player, to come join the band. And
Right.
I got in a little bit of trouble for that, but it all worked out for the best.
Yeah,
so,
man, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then by that point, like I guess the crew was kind of solidifying.
Yeah.
But you guys had a hell of a run.
Yeah, we were around for like 7 years,
Yeah,
and
You hit hard, man.
we were like the best band in the Mirror, like
Yeah.
at least 4 or 5 years in a row, and but still never really made it big, you know. Like there was maybe a couple of months where I didn't have to work and lived off the band, but otherwise, like
I'm going to interrupt you. So you're saying he never got big enough, and they do a reunion show, which turned out to be 5 sold-out shows back-to-back in a row in Montreal as a reunion. Yeah, you guys made it big, and locally, you guys are legends.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. And like we totally exceeded our goals. We wanted to be as big as Sons of the Desert. That was our thing.
I don't know who they are.
You don't know Sons of the Desert?
No, man.
In the
I don't know
80s,
shit.
like late 80s, Sons of the Desert were like the cool band.
In Montreal.
In Montreal,
Okay.
yeah. And you know Jimmy Spencer?
Yes.
Jimmy was the drummer.
Oh, okay.
And that's how I met Jimmy, was because he was in Sons of the Desert, and he was dating the singer from my very first band, The Vegetables, which was with Klaus Frostel.
Klaus.
Klaus.
Yeah, didn't he go into sound recording?
Yeah, he works for Jam Industries.
Man, I don't know where that information was logged away, but it
Came in, do no shit.
Right? It's spotty, but it's jumping around. Man, you guys went on at that point to do these historic shows and the Loft Scene Party. It was that era, right?
Yeah, well, in about 90 or 91, me and Gus split a loft with the band that the band would use to rehearse in. Mm-hmm. And it was like at ground zero for Party Town. It was on Saint Laurent, just above Prince Arthur.
Yeah.
Where there's a hair salon there now they were just on the ground floor when we lived there. But
is
they
that
took
the
over
Ungava building?
No, it's the...
no, that's Pine. And,
it's, I'm drawing a blank. It's like Aveda or something salon or whatever.
Right, so you guys had the loft there.
So we had a loft there, and so to pay the rent, every like 2 months we would throw a big party. Mm-hmm. And we would get... St. Ambroise would give us like super deals on cases of beer, and we'd buy like 40 cases of beer and lug them up 4 flights of stairs and... throw an all-night rager and pay our rent for the next couple of months. Yeah.
See, those types of scenes are what is beautiful about my vision of what the plateau was back in the day.
Yeah, everyone was doing that.
But I mean,
I don't know.
Different scenes and
We're
stuff.
too old.
Well, I think there's a lot of DJs.
We don't get invited anymore.
Oh man, and I got all dressed up and everything. Shit. But yeah, like I find like the community aspect of it. You know, having your crew, having the community also support you at these parties, and you know. Also, they just want to hang out where the cool shit's happening, and that was some cool shit happening, you know. But it's so cool because, like, what I was saying about you at the start is that you've since moved to NDG, and you're always pulling people together. I know you do the Porch Fest, or you did, and you know you're throwing all these things around. And everybody's always hopping on your shit, man. I love it.
Yeah, it's I credit my mother.
Yeah.
Like I learned that from my mother. My mother, she was a single mom. Mm-hmm. You know, my dad died when I was very young. I was 4 years old when my dad died, and my mom and I were living in Vancouver at the time. We had just moved there because my dad got transferred out there, and all of a sudden her whole world fell apart. And so she packed me up and moved us back to Montreal, which was where all her friends were.
Right.
And her friends were like, exactly. Yeah. And her friends, you know, she would always throw these parties and invite all her friends. And she was the spider in the middle of the web of this like huge network of really diverse and interesting people. And she was the common thing that like bound them all together, you know. So
you definitely got it from her then.
I totally picked it up from my mom.
Man.
Yeah.
So so you were doing these loft parties to pay the rent and stuff. Then you went on to make records and do like I remember seeing you on like Music Plus and stuff like that because I think it was also like you know a great time to be coming up because you had things like Music Plus that were happening at that time. You know.
Yeah, they were in their heyday too at that time.
Exactly. Yeah. And I remember even seeing you guys on there and stuff. You know, it's sad that doesn't exist anymore. Those types of things, or like the Mirror and Hour as well, for that matter.
Oh yeah, a lot of the things that were critical to us back then culturally are just gone now.
Yeah,
and they're replaced by the internet.
Yeah, and reality TV. Well, I mean, TV's basically gone anyway, right?
Yeah, I haven't had TV in a long time.
Oh man.
Yeah.
No, we do have a TV and stuff, but everything's coming off Netflix and stuff like that now.
Yeah, for sure. I don't see. You would have to put a gun to my head to make me watch something with commercials on it.
I was at work the other day, and I was watching TV with the kids. I can't remember what it was that they wanted to watch, but a commercial came on. The volume difference nowadays between the show and the commercial is incredible.
Still? Really?
Man, it's worse than ever. Like, you watch something, you're all chill, then a commercial comes in, it's like, and you're like, what the fuck?
Because I know they were actually, like, making TVs that automatically, like, reduce the volume of commercials because so many people complained about it.
Yeah, because it's intense,
It was actually a selling feature on some televisions a while back. Yeah,
really?
It was like auto
buy that for
commercial mute or whatever. Yeah.
So I want to trace this story all the way to the end of it. You guys then went on to make records.
Yeah.
How many records did you guys make?
We did an EP, and then we did our full-length studio album that we did at Morin Heights. That was Shiva Space Machine.
Right.
And then...
would you say that's the album that really...
That's the only studio album we ever really did.
Oh, really?
Full studio album, yeah.
Okay.
Because then we put out We Are Revolting, which was like outtakes and live tracks.
Okay, yeah.
But there was maybe one new studio recording on that record. Everything else was live or I think it was all live, yeah. So So really, Shiva Space Machine is the only example of us like being
That's
creative
crazy.
in the
See,
studio.
I always thought that there was more albums than that because you guys hit so hard. You know what I mean? Like that one album, just like kaboom.
It was so prohibitively expensive to record back then.
Right?
It was
Yeah.
really expensive.
Yeah.
And it's crazy now what you can do just in your own living room.
Absolutely.
You know? Look at Billie Eilish. You know,
Yeah.
she won the Grammy, and that album was produced in a bedroom.
Dude, the technology is small. It can be anywhere, and it kind of put everybody on even ground. Yeah, you can do extra and spend more money and get more, but if you know what you're doing, the tool is there.
I kind of feel like before, like the world of recorded music that was available to us compared to now was like a little puddle, you know?
Right.
That's all that was available. So you throw a stone in, it really upsets the whole puddle.
Absolutely.
Now, it's an ocean, the amount of stuff that's out there. There's an ocean of it, and it's accessible to everyone.
Yeah.
So you throw a stone in that, it doesn't make a difference at all. You know? So I kind of think of this music making thing as like people who play the lottery, you know, that I usually look down on for being foolish.
Yeah.
But that's exactly what I'm doing, man.
Absolutely.
I'm just writing songs and recording, and every one of those songs is my little lotto ticket.
Yeah, your little ticket.
And I just need one of them to pay off.
Yeah,
and
it's
it'll all
got to
be
hit
worth
somewhere, right?
Yeah.
No, I totally get it. I believe quite a few people feel that way. You know, it's funny we're talking about like recording, and now everybody can do it. Recording's gotten so good that I think some people even long for bad recordings these days as well, which has really opened up the field to like I totally believe that if you grabbed a ghetto blaster, hit record with a cassette in, then put it into a computer through with just an aux out right in and record it and released it, people would say that's amazing too. You know,
Oh, yeah.
because when it comes down to it, recordings, you're capturing a moment
But look
or
at
producing something, you know.
look at Chris Murray's first solo record, the
Right,
four-track
right. What was it
adventures.
called again?
Four-track adventures
Yeah.
of Venice Shoreline Chris.
That's it. Yeah, we listened to that in the van. Yeah.
I can't stop listening to that. It's so real. It's
Hey,
so
he wants
real.
to do the ska, okay? I love it. Chris Murray, man. Check him out.
Chris.
Yeah. That's hilarious.
Yeah, that's a great record. Yeah.
So then Me Mum did some huge shows for years after that album.
Yeah, we played some really big concerts. We did the 350th anniversary of Montreal.
I brought my little cousin to see Me Mum at La Ronde.
Oh, yeah, La
He was
Ronde.
too young
we
to
did La
drive
Ronde
and stuff
too,
like
yeah.
that, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, I think we did, and Men Without Hats were on the following week,
Oh, really,
if I remember correctly.
That's Ivan's
Yeah.
band.
Ivan,
Yeah.
Ivan Dorshak,
Yeah. Man, I'd like to get him on here. That'd be interesting. I'm always game for anything, man. I ain't afraid of no ghost.
Let's start a letter writing campaign.
That's it. Absolutely. And then, so you guys went on, did all these incredibly huge shows, and then just called it a day, or?
Well, the straw that broke the camel's back was when our accordion player, Noah Green, who was our second accordion player, our original accordion player was Kasia Herring.
Just the fact that you found one is impressive.
Yeah, it's hard enough finding one. The fact that we found two is a miracle. So when Noah said he was going to go move to New York permanently and join a band called Two Skinny Jays as a lead singer, Gus in particular just said, that's it, I'm not looking for another accordion player, and we can't do this without an accordion player, so let's just quit while we're ahead. And we all kind of agreed that, we're pretty much at the peak of our career. It's probably all downhill from here anyways. And it proved to be a good move, because then we just
Absolutely.
That was in 1995. In 1999, the Jazz Fest contacted me and said, we'd like to back a truckload of money up to your house if you guys would put it together again. And we did.
See, truckloads of money is like the Viagra for bands.
Yeah. And all it takes is nostalgia.
Right?
That's all you
Yeah,
need.
man.
So quit while you're ahead, lay back a while, let the nostalgia build up, then come back for the big payday.
Yeah, man, absolutely. But it's really cool that you guys didn't wait too long either.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, the gap was just probably perfect, because he still had so many people that were, like, I work with this dude called Dave, okay? Hey, Dave. He is the biggest Me Mum fan. He's always asking about, he's always telling me, when are you going to cover a Me Mum song? I'm like, dude, they did their thing, I'm going to do my thing, but always he keeps coming back with it. And, I think the timing was probably right, because it also set up thing where you guys could do that every once in a while, right?
That reminds me, I have to talk to you about something.
Oh.
I don't know if
We're here right now, man.
I'm trying to put together a Me Mom tribute night with other musicians playing Me Mama Morgentaler songs.
Right.
And I'm trying to pitch it to Val for Ska Fest this year.
Yeah.
To have an homage to Me Mama Morgentaler. So far I have iffy commitments from Danny Rebel and the Planet Smashers, but if you guys could get on there too.
Hey, I'll
that'd
give
be
you an
really
iffy
cool.
commitment if they do. All right. There you go.
Cheers
No,
to you.
what I'm saying is basically when I say that, it's if I have time, I'm always in for an adventure. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure you guys will be on Ska Fest again this year anyways in some way,
always have
shape,
my
or form.
fun. You know? Yeah, but like at one point in my life, I think I just decided that this is the way I'm going to live my life. You know what I mean? It wasn't so much of like I'm in a band anymore. It's just like this is my life and it continues.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But,
You're doing Pooza this year, right? Again?
yeah, baby. Yeah.
Agrolites. Ooh.
Yeah. Oh,
Looking
it proves
forward
the
to
lineup
that.
this year, right?
Yeah,
It's
crazy.
crazy. I'm going to let the one cat out of the bag. Normally we play on the outdoor stage, but we did it like year after year after year, and it was always amazing. All kinds of people came, and thank you, people. I mean, without what what you're doing, we can't do what we're doing. But this year we're going to be playing in an old strip club. And
Oh,
I'm
really?
really excited about it.
Nice.
Actually, that's a rumor I heard. That's not, don't quote me on that. Actually, don't quote me on anything. But I think that's what's happening.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
cool.
Oh, yeah, man. I'm all for it, man. There's going to be some good ghosts
I don't
in there.
usually get to go because it's always on the same weekend as Porch Fest.
That's right.
Yeah.
You gotta make sure
So-
you gotta get dates down that it's not on the same weekend.
I did, well, I can go at night because Porch Fest ends at 5, so that's
Right,
no
right.
problem. So I caught the Slackers a couple of years ago at Pooza. That was the last time I went down there.
yeah.
Yeah.
Porch Fest. What's that all about?
Oh, Porch Fest is great. It's this NDG festival. It's on Victoria Day weekend in May. And it's just people from all over open up their porches and front yards and invite musicians to play free concerts all over the neighborhood.
Oh, wow.
And they do like about 100 concerts in 2 days, 100 performances in 2 days.
How did you get involved with it?
I just found out about it. I didn't even know it was happening the first year. I jumped on board the second year and hosted it at Alley Cat Gallery. I have a little art gallery in front of my house, which is
Bringing
kind
the
of like
community of NDG together.
it's kind of a little alleyway off Sherbrooke Street, and so we hosted bands there for the last 5 years. We do
Wow.
Porch Fest, which is the Victoria Day weekend, and then we do the third weekend in August is NDG Arts Week. So we do a concert for that too.
Yeah. Cool. That's really cool, man. I've seen videos and stuff from it, but I'm usually not there because I'm playing on that same
Pooza,
weekend, just
yeah,
like you're saying. You know what
exactly,
I mean?
yeah.
But it always looks like there's a bunch of people dancing on the street and having a good old time, and I like
Oh,
that.
it's a blast. And totally free, and they raise money for the. It changes every year. Last year we raised money for the St. Raymond's after-school music program.
Beautiful.
Below the tracks in NDG there.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So, and Paul Carniello, since we did that, has crowdsourced equipment to set up a jam studio
cool.
permanently at the school.
Right on. Way to go, Paul.
So
yeah, man.
that's pretty cool. So a lot of good things have been happening down there recently. Yeah.
You know what I love about NDG? All kinds of great cheap eats.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You guys got all the good food.
Oh, yeah.
You know, once you pass the DeCarry, and you're not even past the DeCarry, first you hit Tropical Paradise. And if I don't get my chicken doubles and aloo pie when I'm out that way, I'm not having a good trip out to the West End. Okay, that's my favorite food in all Montreal. Yeah, I just blew it for any other sponsors in town. Tropical Paradise has you beat.
Where is Tropical Paradise? I'm
They
trying
moved to
remember.
DeCarry.
Yeah, they're on DeCarry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's the shittiest building ever, but just go for the food. The food is incredible. And if you want to know what to get, I'll tell you what to get. Get 2 chicken doubles, extra tamarind sauce, and aloo pie, and you're going to be a happy person.
I'll have to check. I've never been.
And it's cheap as hell.
Have you been to Caribbean Food Factory?
No, talk to me.
Caribbean Food Factory opened like 2 or 3 years ago. It's on DeCarry, just at de Maisonneuve. It's in a commercial building, and it's on the first floor, and you really wouldn't notice it's a restaurant unless you knew what you were looking for. And it's amazing Caribbean, Jamaican food. And it's big. It holds like almost 200 people.
Wow.
And they have a stage, and Fitz, the sound man,
Yeah.
it's Fitz's sound system in there.
Oh, cool.
And usually, I don't know if they're still doing it, but for a long time on Friday nights, they had bands, and like
Wow.
Byron and the Uprising guys will play there. Jack Cutta plays there. Mellow G plays there. Robin sings there.
I'll have to swing by and just say, hey.
it's really good.
Yeah, I like good vibes, man.
5311 de Maisonneuve West, Caribbean Food Factory.
Check it out. Now, what other? Okay, you're Mr. NDG right now. If you want some cheap ass soul food in NDG, where do you go?
Soul food.
Well, when I say soul food, it means underly
Like
priced
home-
for the average person, and
like
it's
home cooking, like
hell
good
yeah,
home
man.
cooking. Tacos Tijuana is amazing.
I've never been there.
They're on Sherbrooke between Royal and Draper. Really tiny place. Just got a couple of tables, but you can get a burrito that weighs as much as the average firstborn child for like $10, and it's fantastic.
Because any time that I can eat at a family restaurant, a restaurant run by a family, that's always where I go.
Oh, if you like Lebanese food, and it's bring your own wine also, there's a place called Azar that's just next to Tacos Tijuana. That's like affordable but fine dining.
Is it true the bagel place is closed?
Yes, all our bagel places are closed. Dad's Bagel's closed.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
And St. Viator
Because
Bagel
they always
closed.
have those samosas that I would get. You pay $1.50.
Yeah,
and you're
I
full.
live right across the street from there. Now it's called Notre Boeuf de Grasse. It's a hamburger place.
I mean, I like a burger as much as the next guy, but
It's
really
a $20 hamburger. It's not soul food.
No, man.
Doesn't qualify.
No, absolutely.
No, we
what about
miss Dad
Cosmos?
so much. Cosmos is still there.
It's still
Cosmos
because,
still
like, for
happening.
breakfast, that's still probably my favorite.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. For anybody that's not from NDG, I mean, everybody in NDG knows Cosmos.
I will say the portions aren't quite as ridiculous as they used to be.
Really?
They're more sensible now.
I was really big on ridiculous.
It's not like a mountain of
No.
food anymore. It's
I would always
sensible portions.
order the mishmash and get a liter of orange juice.
Yeah.
That was what I got every time, my hangover breakfast.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I
worked there for like 6 years.
I was aware of that. Yeah. I know it's tragic, and we don't have to go through all that. But I remember seeing like pictures of you working in there and stuff. And man, I still think it's one of the coolest restaurants in all of Montreal.
It really is. It's like
Yeah.
it's like something out of another time. It's
Respect to the whole Cosmos, and just keep
Nicky
doing
and
it.
Nick.
That's it. Yeah, absolutely. And they will describe every type of bread that they have on the spot to you. I love it. It's one of the things I always think of about it. What about Jamaican food out there? What do you got?
I really think Caribbean Food Factory is like my top place.
All right, I'm going to
really
have to go
good.
for sure then.
But I also have a soft spot for Jean's Trinidadian restaurant, which is right across the street from Tacos Tijuana. So if you go to where Tacos Tijuana is, there's like 10 good restaurants on that block.
See, this is what I'm
There's
talking about, though. NDG got all the cheap mom-run restaurants, that are just amazing. I love it out there for that.
There's a great restaurant called East Africa that does Ethiopian food,
Oh, really?
also on that block. There's a great Japanese restaurant on that block.
I think we should go on a tour of the restaurants one day.
There's 2 good Indian restaurants on that block.
Wow.
There's a good Korean restaurant on that block. It's amazing.
I really like NDG. I've always had a soft spot for NDG.
Yeah, I've been there since I was 4 years old.
Oh, really, huh?
Yeah.
The hood.
Yeah, and I live 2 blocks from the house I grew up in.
Well, a lot of musicians are living out there as well.
Yeah, you can still find affordable places.
Well,
it's not
that's
bad. And the services are fantastic,
When you say services, you're talking about?
Like just you have everything, like
Buses.
especially where I am, you just got everything you need within a very small radius. you
Yeah.
know? There's good grocery stores. Like I live next to Esposito. It's it's not like a big metro but they have great prices and great food. And it's literally I can go there in my pajamas in the middle of a snowstorm and get my food. And
When are you
come
going to
home.
run and be mayor of NDG?
Well, I did run my cat. I tried to get my cat elected MP.
Humbert.
Humbert, yeah.
See, I know his cat's name because this is a very famous cat. And in fact, the cat is on the record.
Yeah, in 2015, we put up election posters around the neighborhood for Humbert, and it sparked like a media frenzy. And we were like on all the TV shows and all the radio shows for a couple of weeks. And he got 121 votes, even though he wasn't officially on the ballot.
Yeah.
But, well, he didn't really get 121 votes. But what happened was there was this lady, Lisa Khan, who was running as an independent, and somebody on her staff or something told the Gazette that she was running on behalf of my cat.
Oh, really?
And they never fact-checked it, so when the Gazette printed the election results, they put Humbert's name instead of hers.
Wow.
Yeah, so
I wonder
on
if
the
Humbert
public
knows
record-
how popular.
I don't know. I think he's got a bit of an idea.
Yeah.
Like he's
He gets a lot of attention.
He likes it.
Yeah. He's a bit of a ham.
He might be on a very famous Japanese TV show.
I heard something about this.
Yeah, the guy's coming.
What's up with that?
I got an email from a producer, a Japanese-Canadian producer in Vancouver last week, and he told me he'd seen Humbert on the internet and was scouting talent for a Japanese TV show called Cats Around the World, which has been on for many years and is really popular.
I'm sure.
And it's shot by a world-renowned wildlife photographer. So he's coming by on Thursday to meet the cat and take pictures of him and decide whether or not he gets to be a TV star.
So he actually has to audition to be like...
Yeah, the pressure's on.
No pressure. That's funny. Meet the cat, see if he works. Shit. Man, that's wicked. And now you got the cat stuff going on. You got your place here, Osmosis. You've been busy for the last few years. You're always creeping up with some new project around the whole Osmosis concept. What is the concept for this? Like,
well,
what's going on with that?
It's just started off as, like a way to, osmosis is when you like achieve balance on either side through like permeating a membrane, So I was just trying to like absorb as many people without really trying as I could,
Right.
And just pick things up as I move through life. So I just, it's almost an unconscious process where I just meet people and I show them what I'm doing and we find out if there's a part they want to play in it and we just make music together, And so I kind of started off with ambitions of like doing what you're doing and like getting a solid band together and touring around and booking shows. And I quickly realized I can't do it. I just, I take medication for bipolar disorder and it makes me really tired all the time.
Yeah.
So I just don't have the stamina to go out on the road and play late night concerts and get home at 3 a.m. I'm just not built for
it's
it.
definitely a recipe to, if you're at all fragile to any sort of unbalancing, and I'm not even talking like you're talking about bipolar, but I mean other people that just need like the reassurance of a routine. It's definitely not the route for that. You know what I mean?
No, I'm sure. So now I just see it more as like a recording project and just kind of trying to archive all these songs and.
So basically, you invite people over to jam, you work out a tune type thing, and then decide to record it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
that's amazing. That's what music is, man.
Yeah, so I'm really all about the recording now.
Yeah.
And I'm not a production snob. I still have a lot to learn about recording engineering and stuff like that. But I seem to be able to like get something that I'm happy with.
Well, I've heard stuff that I like.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I just want to get it out there and have it as a historical document. You know
well,
what I'm
that's
saying?
it. It's part of your life, right? It's part of who you are.
As far as I'm concerned, you can always go back and work on a song more and more. Yeah. Like I work with a lot of people who never release anything until it's ready.
Yeah, I ain't got time for that, man.
It seems like the stuff is just never ready. It's
that's it. Yeah. It's like, where does it end?
Yeah, so I just throw it out there as soon as it's good enough.
Yeah.
And then I'll worry about improving it later. I can always re-release it.
Yeah. No, I'm a big fan of that. I mean, especially if somebody that is a very creative person, which you are. Sorry to break the bad news to you, but you're extremely creative.
It's a curse.
Yeah, but I mean, somebody that's creative, it's like that energy. It always has to go somewhere. So I understand. Like, okay, I'm working on this, but I'm starting to think of the next thing already. Okay, this is done. Put it aside. I'm moving on.
Yeah.
But people that think that way with, some people will say, oh, I'll never produce something all the way to the end or whatever. But fuck that. You know what? These are the people that are really telling their stories. These are the people that are getting together to play music with all their friends and just are artists.
Yeah.
Getting it out, move on. Okay, a new idea. I love people like that, and I love you.
Oh, thank you, man. I love you too.
Absolutely. I saw the video that you made. Something All's Good in NDG.
Yeah.
What's all good in NDG? I love it, man. Now you're going around in a convertible, riding around town and stuff. That looked like a blast.
Oh, it was so much fun. Yeah. That was with Mello G. And that was Tony, our bass player's, or should I say Wally Thornhill's convertible. You can edit out his name, right?
No, man. I'm telling all the guests right now because I had to edit one video, which I really hate doing because I'm like you. I don't like to go and work backwards, you know what I mean? But now the only editing that happens in this room is between the head and the mouth, and that's it, man.
Oh, well, Tony, your secret's out.
Sorry, bro. I ain't responsible for shit.
Yeah, my old high school buddy did that for us. It was his first video, too, so we had a lot of fun. Like, we didn't really know what we were doing, and we were just flying by the seat of our pants. pants.
Yeah.
And
Isn't that
but
fun?
it's
though?
pretty fun, and it's got a lot of views, so that's pretty cool.
Dude, I watched it. I smiled. I laughed. And that's what I expect. You know what I mean? Like, it made me feel good. I don't need any more than that, you know?
I actually got slagged in an online review for like talking too much about NDG.
Well, tell them if I can suck
like-
your balls. Yo, you gotta, you know what I mean? Like, people always want to hate. People always want to, you know, like, how many reviewers, like, oh, we want to balance out our review with something good and something bad, you know, or have these types of mindsets. It's just like, shut up.
I write so much about NDG. NDG
Yeah.
is a huge source of artistic inspiration.
Do
for
reviewers
me,
get
yeah.
chicks?
I think this reviewer was a chick. I'm not sure.
That happens a lot too, and that's all cool. Are they getting the dudes? They probably are too.
They probably do.
They probably are.
They're
Shit.
getting the bass players at least.
Yeah, well, stepping up from the roadie, right? Or the merch dude. Mind you, they got more time to work their shit, you know? Bipolar medication. Medication.
Yeah, I take,
what's the effects? What are you taking?
I take lithium,
Mm-hmm.
which is a godsend.
Yeah.
They started me off when I first got diagnosed. I was on Epival,
Mm-hmm.
which is like the second-rate lithium.
Okay.
But because it's less toxic
Right.
to the kidneys, if I'm not mistaken, to the kidneys,
That makes sense.
they usually go with that first and
Okay.
try that out. So they tried that out on me for like years. I
Mm-hmm.
would say probably like 10 years I was on Epival.
Right.
And I kept having episodes.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't stop the manic episodes from coming. I was in the hospital like once or twice a year for 10 years.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I must have spent over a year and a half of my life in the hospital.
You're a very popular person in the hospital, though, I gotta say. I went to visit Wednesday. They're like, oh, John. And they're calling down the hall and stuff. Like, everybody loved you there.
But they finally switched me to lithium, and like I've been mostly stable
Yeah.
since taking that. And then I take an antipsychotic called Risperdal.
Yeah.
And that's the one that really like
Okay, that
sucks the energy out of you.
That's
you
the
know?
drainer, right?
And it's a tiny little pill. It's like
Yeah.
nothing. I take 2 milligrams.
Mm-hmm.
Like I take 900 milligrams of lithium,
Yeah.
and you know I'm sure it slows me down a bit, but
See, I have a few friends that have bipolar disorders or whatever the in word is of the day, because everything keeps evolving and changing, and it's probably not even a bad thing, and we have to evolve. But everybody always says a bit, you know, the same type of things, like, you know, the draining of the energy is the hard part, but yet off it gets really bad.
Yeah, it's
and
scary.
actually, like, I had one person that thanks doctors and wrote a letter to the company that made a medication saying how it saved her life and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And it was really heartfelt.
But it's still not like the be all end all of the
That's
cure,
it.
you
Yeah,
know?
that's where I
Because
was getting.
there's so many other things that come into play, like psychological factors and environment and stuff like that, and triggers. And one thing I learned this year, I had my first episode this past summer
Okay.
for the first time in 6 years. I had my first manic episode. And you know what the trigger was?
What?
I wasn't poor for the first time ever.
He got excited.
I got money. and
It triggered. Yeah.
the security of having a few $1,000s in the bank triggered mania.
Mm-hmm.
So of course I blew all the money
Of
and then
course.
got kicked off welfare because I had all the money.
At least you had an excuse. I got no excuse. But yeah, what I'm getting at is like the whole medication thing. Like you say, it's not, you know, the be all end all, and it's like, because I have a lot of friends that you know, I don't even know how to word things properly or whatever. I could say suffer from this syndrome or not. Other people say that they're fine with it, and it's part of who they are as well, and everybody kind of reacts to it differently. My biggest question is this, and maybe you can enlighten me. The one thing that I've, like, especially if I'm working with somebody that is like having an episode, like in a manic phase or whatever, how aware are you that you are in the phase or not? That's what a lot of people, like, as far as a worker goes, that's the hardest part for me.
Well, I think it depends on the person, right?
Yeah.
It depends how long they've lived with the disease and how much insight they've been able to like gather on their own moods and stuff like that. But normally, when you're manic, your self-awareness goes flying out the window.
Yeah.
And to you, there's a perfectly good reason for everything you're saying or doing, and it all makes perfect sense. So sometimes it's really hard to convince someone who's having a manic episode that they're actually having one.
Yeah.
But for me, I've gotten to the point where I am a little more insightful. And when I'm normal and I like for example, I got a roommate 6 years ago. My friend moved in with me, and we hadn't met before he moved in. And so I told him at the beginning, I said, look, I'm bipolar, blah, blah, blah. I said, if you ever think there's any chance that I'm having a manic episode, if I'm behaving strangely, if I'm doing weird things, if I'm freaking you out, just call 911. Yeah. Just call 911, tell them your bipolar roommate is having a manic episode, and tell them to send an ambulance and the cops.
That's a great way to say it. And one cool thing that they changed in the system, I'll just talk for Montreal, is I know now that let's say you call 911 on a friend because you're worried and you love them, and you're always worried about repercussions. Usually the person is happy you made the call after the fact, maybe not on the spot. And the other thing is that when they come to you, your name is already, like, because now the information is shared, right, from the CS to hospitals and stuff like that. Yeah. So they're not coming in here like the cavalry to do harm. They know that you're not doing well and come in. I've seen some crews work and bring people to the hospital so incredibly well. I'm not saying it's perfect, but compared to 20 years ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's something. That's a whole other part of my life, is that I work with people that suffer from all kinds of different situations. And that, thank you so much for answering that question, because that's where, as a worker, I have a really hard time sometimes, because sometimes a person is such a manic phase that they don't want to talk to you, don't want to listen, or may become agitated.
Yeah, for sure.
And they don't realize that they're having an episode, so it's really hard to convince them to get help.
No, usually, like when the cops and the ambulance shows up, it'll go one of two ways. It'll either snap them into realizing, like, oh, this is serious,
right?
I better maybe take a look at myself, or they'll totally react in the worst possible way.
Yeah.
So it is a chance you take.
Absolutely.
But I think it's the only move. Like if someone's having a manic episode, they need to be hospitalized. They need to have their medication adjusted. There's very few people who come out of it on their own. You know?
Man, you're such a great spokesperson for this. Like even if you don't want to be, because you are quite a public figure, you are very intelligent, and you have experience with it.
Yeah, I try and reach out a lot. Like, if I were to count off like all the people I spend most of my leisure time with, they all have mental health issues, and they're all people I've reached out to because I feel like one of the most important aspects of recovery is having peer counselors,
right?
And being able to talk to people who have been through what you've been through, but have been going through it for longer and have a bit more experience dealing with it, and may know some tricks that you could benefit from and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
So I like actively seek out people that are like in crisis and having issues and stuff like that because I want to turn my negative experiences into positive experiences for someone, and for myself too.
Absolutely.
I think one of the best ways, if you have anxiety or depression, the best thing you can do is find someone who's worse off than you and help them, and you'll lift you both up.
For sure. Yeah. And one thing that I'm really happy, like in the whole field of mental awareness, I want to say, or mental health, is that there are some changes. Like when it comes to mental health, I'd say even within the last 5 years, there's major changes. I find all of a sudden it's like everybody is free, and it's becoming very normalized to talk about, how's my mental health doing today? How are you doing?
Oh,
it's all part of your general health.
It's changed so much just recently.
Because remember back in the day, it was always like mental health, physical health. You'd even have to see different people and stuff for everything. I understand people specialize in stuff like that. But now even general practitioners, like, how's your health? And they're talking about your mental health, your physical health, everything, Yeah. I like that. It makes it also easier now because it's more out in the open for somebody like me that's working with people that are suffering, because it's easier to bring as a subject. Before, it used to be so taboo.
So stigmatized before.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's still a lot of stigma, but the amount of change of consciousness that's gone on, like you said, just recently, is really remarkable.
Oh yeah, there's so many new programs. There's something called Access that's amazing. It's helping people, get the treatment that they need, because it's not easy as well. Like, especially ever think like parents that, okay, their youth now is like early 20s or late teens, and these new developments are happening, and they don't know where to go to for help and stuff like that too,
Yeah.
And I'm happy that it's getting easier. It's still not easy. I mean, you're making your way through this system. What a fucking nightmare.
Oh, yeah.
Jeez,
really,
even in the better days that I'm saying it is now, it's still a fucking nightmare.
Yeah,
It really is, and getting bounced around from people who are try seeing a psychiatrist or getting, you call when you're not doing well, and they're telling you about a 3-month wait and stuff like that. It's like you're not doing well, and that's why you're calling today.
Right. Yeah. No, you really. I think it's the people in the. It's the people in the inpatient wards that are doing the real boots on the ground work,
Absolutely, yeah.
But it seems like that's really the only option, because, I mean, I know, like you said, if I want to see my psychiatrist, I have to book an appointment with her 2 months in advance.
Yeah,
you know?
and nobody thinks of booking one when they're doing well.
Exactly,
right? You see the little hole in the system there? I just want to point it out to you.
No, pretty much the ER is your only resource a lot of the time. So.
Absolutely, and but I do want I want to move on to another subject, but I do want to say that time that I went to visit you there, I just couldn't believe I was saying it again. They're like, yeah, John's down there. I think there's a piano in the room and stuff there, and you're putting on smiles on. I remember you helping an older lady and stuff. It's like, man, you just bring joy no matter what context you're in.
Sometimes I miss the hospital.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Well, if you're in any place and you do make relationships with the place and the people in the place, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally get that.
Except for one couple I know, though, hospital romances never last. I learned that.
Dude, I was working with this guy, okay, he's in his 20s. I won't name any names. But he calls me up and goes, man, I just had sex. And he's in the psych ward. He goes, but man, that girl's crazy. I'm like, dude, where are you right now? And then he's, oh, shit. I thought it was funny. It was super cute, Hey, everybody needs love, man, at the end of the day, right?
I've had some great psych ward romances.
There you go.
For sure.
Yeah, man. And I mean, if passion's what you're looking, that's a good place to find passion.
Yeah. But I have two friends who are both bipolar, and they met at the Douglas Hospital.
Uh-huh.
And they got married, I think, 3 years ago, and they've been together like 6 years.
Oh, wow.
So they're the exception that proves the rule.
And they're probably supporting each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, okay, you can't get a more honest friendship than that right off the start.
I'm in a choir, actually, with the husband.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we're in a choir that's part of the, it's called the Museart Choir, and it's at the General Hospital, and it's for psych patients from the General.
Okay.
And the choir's been around for like 23 years.
Yeah.
It's a really good music therapy program. Yeah, it's great.
Marijuana, mental health, talk to me.
Oh, well, it's pretty good for me. I tend to to try and get over the lethargy and fatigue I feel from the medication. I tend to smoke sativa dominant hybrids.
Okay.
And I recently started baking with them and making edibles. I make these little oatmeal coffee cookies and stuff.
Coffee cookies?
Yeah, I just put some instant coffee in with the oatmeal. and yeah, I think it's great for me. Most of the time, it's good. I found
it's not a trigger for you.
If I'm having a manic episode, it can be.
Yeah.
So I find when I'm stable and my baseline is a little subnormal energy level, I'm really just, my normal is kind of everyone else is exhausted.
Right.
So I find the smoking helps me at least perk up my brain and give me a little fidgety energy to do things with my hands and stuff. And but if I'm stressed out, I'll switch to an indica to kind of slow my brain down. And
isn't it wild how the education around marijuana and with the SQDCs now that are open, and there's much more importance made on what type you're smoking, and because the effects are so radically different, stuff
for
like
sure.
that. I find that super interesting. The reason I was asking about bipolar and marijuana is I know that for some youths that it's problematic. For some, and others say that it helps them. So I haven't formed a true opinion, except for I do trust what people tell me. A lot of workers think they know best. But I
but it's the same with any medication.
Yeah.
Any medication will affect different people differently. So You just have to I used to like to get a different strain every time and try this and try that. I stopped doing that.
Okay.
I found a strain that works for me for what I need it for 90% of the time, and I just get that strain. It's called Sage.
Okay.
And it's a 70% sativa, and the
So
guy
this,
get
this
it
is your
from
daytime. I'm gonna play a little music.
Yeah,
there.
exactly.
All right, I got you.
Yeah,
man.
I don't usually smoke it late at night because if it'll keep me up if I'm trying to sleep.
Yeah.
But I get it from the same guy. The guy grows just this strain. So every time he grows it, he gets a little better at it and he uses fewer
He means
chemicals.
the SQDC, by the way.
Yeah.
Man, they got it. I'm on this whole trip. I want to do some good this year, and I think I gotta talk to the people running the SQDC. You know what the problem is?
For sponsorship?
No.
the
Well,
packaging.
sponsor me. That'd be cool too. He's brilliant. Listen to him. These containers.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, eh?
Any regular smoker is going through one of these. Some people a week, one every 2 weeks, depending on who you are. Sometimes more or less. Okay. How fast? Let's say one a week. You have 52 of these a year?
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's absolutely nuts.
It's bonkers.
And I've realized.
I know someone in Halifax is recycling them and turning them into prosthetic limbs.
Really?
Yeah, they're recycling the pot shop
Are you
packaging.
going to tell them to listen to this podcast and send a comment to say where to?
Yeah, I'll try and find them.
Yeah,
I will try and find that.
That's really
company,
cool.
yeah.
That's really cool. Because what I've learned that any company that does business now, of course, with the whole marijuana being legal now, they have to really be careful. I understand, like part of their things is that they really have to ensure that they're locking caps, right, so that kids can't get it. I totally get that. Okay, totally understand that. But I also know that to do any change, it has to be profitable for the company as well. So I've come up with a plan. This is my plan, and it's so basic. I don't understand why, because this cannot continue. If all the pot smokers of Quebec go through, let's say, even 20 of these a year, which is lowballing like crazy. Anybody that's smoking is smoking more than that, okay? We could build houses out of this shit, all right? There's way too many of them. So what it seems to me it must happen is this. The SQDC has to sell a container that locks. Because that's how they will compensate for their money. And if it's profitable, they might consider actually doing it.
Right.
So you go to the SQDC, you buy your container, now you're allowed to buy weed. And obviously a reusable glass container would be good, or other material, something, good for the world. Because I'll tell you, pot smokers in general are people that tend to care about the world. All right, so you'd go to the SQDC with you bought a container. You might want to buy 2 if you're into getting 2 different strands, or 3 if you want 3 different strands, whatever it is. And then they have large barrels there that are sealed to keep it fresh in earth, and they put it, every time you buy it, into your container that you bought from them. You bring it home and it's reusable. Doesn't that make sense?
Sure.
Right? Guys, you really have to do it. This is a mission. Everybody should contact the SQDC and make this happen, because these things, this has to stop. It's way too much plastic. It's incredible. Like I said, an average smoker and people that go to the SQDC.
Ziploc bags.
Yeah, man. But you know what I mean? Like some people go get 3 or 4 of these at a time and go once a week or once every 2 weeks. That's so much. It's insane.
They should at least have a return program. Like, you should be able to return them.
Right, exactly. But I like the idea of sell a cool glass container or something, and bring it. That way they're making a bit of profit, because no change ever happened if the company loses money or doesn't make a gain from it.
Yeah.
So that's a way for them to make their gain.
You got to figure it's got to be like, it's got to be Legault's nephew or something who has the contract for supplying the plastic bottles to the SQDC.
So somebody, whoever fucking got that
someone's
contract.
nephew is getting rich off it, so they're not going to change.
Yeah, but this one has to, or it won't last, because I know that
maybe they could turn them into orange cones.
Montreal style, man, of course. And then you put the cone upside down, you put your beer in it, plug the hole. Yeah, I got plans for these. Absolutely. Hey, pass me that. There was a second flask somewhere, but I think it's upstairs right now. Here, this one's good. This was a present for my buddy. Yeah. And the whiskey in this was given to the show by Sean Ryan. Cheers. On tour right now in Europe with Finney and all the other Mahones. They're on a huge tour, not just Europe either. Check them out. Check out the Mahones. They're all over this planet. Cheers, guys. John, what do you have going on? What's coming up for you?
I've been working on albums for two of my Osmosis band members.
Uh-huh.
I wrote some songs and played some saxophone for my guitarist Jeff Lauber's album, which is called Tell, and that's probably coming out in April. It's really good. I'm really proud of the work he's done on it. It's just amazing. And I'm also producing a new record for Lisa Mackey, our singer.
Absolutely. Hey, Lisa.
Hi, Lise. So we've got about I don't know if they'll all go on the record, but we've got 6 songs now.
You're off to a healthy start.
So we've made a pretty big dent in it. But
Yeah,
I
man.
don't know if all the songs are going to make it on the record. But if anyone wants, just message me on Facebook, and I can hook you up with a private demo listening session.
John Jordan.
Kristen,
Love you, brother.
Love you, man.
Man, it's great to see you.
You too.
Yeah. Peace out, everybody.
Bye
Stay
from
cool.
Django.
That's right. John Django, the love story. Yeah, buddy. Came and don't know shit. Nice. What a sit down. So good to see John again. It's been too long. And I think I'm going to have him back this summer too. Maybe we'll do a poolside one, and just what an all around good hearted human being. It takes people like that, a creative soul that just wants to do well in this world, man. I'm all about it. Once again, thanks to our sponsors. Go check out theinprint.com and we'll see you soon. All right, peace out, everybody. Stay cool. Don't forget to subscribe. Oh, came and don't know shit.